Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. One dead following fiery crash in Trelawny. The driver of a Honda CR-V was reportedly burnt beyond recognition after a fiery motor vehicle accident which involved a trailer truck on the Main Road in Trelawny on Monday afternoon. Reporters understand that the vehicle, which was traveling towards Duncan's, burst into flames on impact with the trailer, which was traveling in the opposite direction. The male driver was reportedly trapped in the vehicle, which was consumed by the fire. The accident has resulted in a massive buildup of traffic along the thoroughfare. Members of emergency teams, including the police and fire department, were on the scene. Body of woman found with pillowcase around head in St. Anne. The body of an unidentified woman was found along the Cranbrook Road off the Lundovi Main Road in St. Anne on Sunday. A police source told reporters that the woman was found with a pillowcase around her head at approximately 7 a.m. Reports are that a passerby stumbled upon the body and summoned the police. Police theorizing that the woman was murdered and then brought to the location. Investigations continue. PNP says couldnt's dead comrade comment intended as humor. The People's National Party says statements made by leader Mark Golding during a candidate presentation conference in East Rural St. Andrew on Sunday were reported on without proper context and were intended as humor. During the conference, Golding stated that comrades who voted in the 2011 election should cast their ballots in the upcoming poll, boldly stating that even some who are not alive, if them can deal with it, no problem. In a release on Monday, the PNP said Golding emphasized the significance of rallying support from all supporters willingly and able to cast their votes. The statement in question was a light-hearted response to remarks from a supporter who said, "Wake them up," to which Golding later added, "'Cause, as they say, we are the poor party," the release read. The PNP said without context, the portion of the speech, which is in the public domain, has been misconstrued as literal, when it was in fact intended as humor and was purely figurative in nature. The party noted that it opposed the principles of free and fair elections, ensuring the integrity of Jamaica's democratic process. In a statement on Monday, the ruling Jamaica Labour Party denounced Golding's comments as they believe it seemingly encouraged voters' fraud. Dr. Harris Strang, General Secretary for the JLP, shared that Jamaica had made significant strides in securing free and fair elections, fostering a transparent and accountable election system that upholds the principles of democracy, and said Golding's alarming endorsement of the unethical practices raises serious concern about his commitment to our nation's democratic values. Chang went on to state that although Jamaicans should not be too surprised by Golding's remarks, citizens should be disappointed at the opposition's desperation to seize power at any cost. The JLP also urged the Electoral Commission of Jamaica to ensure that the voters' list is cleaned up to prevent ballots being cast for deceased persons. Take action to stamp out crime in the country, says Williams. Minister of Education and Youth Favour Williams is imploring Jamaicans to move beyond anger, outrage, frustration and fear and take action to stamp out crime in the country. Let us make use of the opportunities available through Crime Stop and other channels to report what we see and know to be wrong, even as we exercise caution in protecting ourselves and our families. We cannot allow ourselves to be pettified by fear, otherwise the criminals will succeed in their desire to intimidate the rest of us, she pointed out. She said that the government and the police have certain responsibilities to protect citizens, but noted that too often, individuals have allowed themselves to be overcome by the kind of fear that leads to inaction. We can't continue like this, she stated. Minister Williams was addressing the Thanksgiving service for the life of 8-year-old Daniel Rowe at the Portmore Seventh-day Adventist Church in St. Catherine on Sunday. Rowe was abducted from school and throat-slashed on June 7 and died in hospital 2 days later while undergoing treatment for injuries she sustained. Williams appealed for people with information on the abduction and killing of the former Brayton Primary and Infant School student to come forward with the details. She said it is not acceptable for people not to say what they saw. We have expressed sadness and outrage. There have been demonstrations of condemnation, but beyond all of this, I ask, is there no one who saw anything that can help the police in their investigations? Are we so caught up in our own world that a little girl can be taken from a busy Portmore in the heart of Kingston and no one saw anything strange or particular? The minister asked. She said the government, along with the entire education fraternity, stands with Daniel's family. Rowe lived a short life, but brought much joy and laughter to the lives of those closest to her, she noted, expressing sorrow at her passing. The minister said the administration is committed to putting the measures in place to safeguard children and note the citizens also have a role to play. While as a government, we can put in place the infrastructure to monitor school premises, representatives from the education system will not be everywhere all the time. But as Jamaicans, we can be and should be our brothers and sisters and children's keeper and guardians. Jamaicans urged to make a will, prevent family from fighting over deadlift. Jamaicans are being urged to make a will to prevent family members from fighting over deadlift and to ease the burden at the Administrators General Department (AGD). Minister of Justice Delroy Chuck, in making the appeal, said that the AGD, which is the entity responsible for handling the estates of people who died without making a will, is managing over $50 billion in property and continues to see increase of between 300 and 500 cases every year. Even though they are completing just under 500 cases per year, they're still getting a similar amount with understanding that they have nearly 5,000 files working and at any time, he noted. Delroy was addressing the AGD's Securing Your Legacy Roadshow at Sam Sharp Square, Montego Bay, St. James on Friday. A will is a document containing instructions and wishes as to how the individuals want their estate, property and assets to be distributed after death. Delroy noted that making of a will is not an omen, as some people believe, but rather a practical measure to provide for loved ones in the event of an unexpected situation, ensuring a smooth transition of assets and minimizing conflicts among other family members. He said that the issue of deadlift, where individuals pass away without leaving a clear legal document detailing the distribution of their assets, often leads to disputes and violence. He noted the urgent need for individuals to take proactive measures to avoid such scenarios. I want to emphasize to those who are listening, when a person dies without making a will, the people fight over the deadlift. Nothing creates more violence, grievances, conflicts and death than deadlift across Jamaica, with people fighting over what they expect, what they believe they should get, and what they think that the deceased person should have left for them, Mr. Delroy Chuck pointed out. The minister explained that a will provides a straightforward solution to ensure one's wishes are respected and assets are allocated according to their desires. By explicitly stating their intentions, he pointed out that persons can spare their loved ones from legal battles and uncertainty. The challenge you have, especially with persons who have children, when you don't make a will, the children suffer for many years until the Administrator General can put together whatever is available so that it can be distributed to the children, he pointed out. He said that people should be encouraged to make wills to avoid unnecessary burden on the state and its department. Opposition calls for at-risk councillors to get protection following murder of Ainsley Parkins. Opposition leader Mark Golden is calling for councillors who are at risk, based on the communities they serve, to be given regular protection by the state. This follows the murder of 55-year-old councillor Ainsley Parkins, otherwise called Tyson, who represented the Southborough Division in Portmore. Speaking at a tribute ceremony for Councillor Parkins, Mr. Golden noted that many councillors feel the state does not look after their security sufficiently. He said that the fact that an elected representative of the people could be assassinated in broad daylight on a public roadway is a frightening thought. The opposition leader said there needs to be a revisiting of the security arrangements for at-risk officials. He said Mr. Parkins' death must be used to reinforce the resolve to address the safety issues in the Jamaican society.
We live in an extremely violent society, and we have not been able to come to terms with that reality. And it's quite clear that the measures that are being employed are not sufficient or adequate to address these issues. I know, for example, that many councillors feel that their security is not sufficiently looked after by the state because they have to be interacting with the public in communities administering scarce resources, and the demands for those resources always exceed the supply. And this can often put them in situations where misunderstandings are possible or where persons resent decisions that are taken if they themselves are not personally benefiting. I would suggest regular risk assessments conducted as to the security risks faced by councillors. And where there are real risks that are known, they should be given protection by the state. This is an important issue. And if anything positive can come out of what happened last Thursday, I'm hoping that it will at least result in a revisiting of the security arrangements for elected officials who are at risk on the ground. Not everybody faces the same level of risk. It depends on the communities they serve and other factors. But certainly, Councillor Parkins faced that risk and ultimately lost his life, and he had no protection at that time, other than whatever protection he could give himself. Something good should come out of this terrible incident. And if we can recommit ourselves to being part of the solution, to turn Jamaica around, change the hearts and minds of those in the society who are hell-bent on destroying the society by such wanton acts of violence, then we would be playing our part in being contributors to the solution that will take our country forward in a better direction.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell